Come with us to the legendary Alcatraz Prison. We both grew up in the San Francisco Bay Area and have somehow never been to Alcatraz before. So today, or tonight I should say, was finally the night. So we are bringing you along with us for an exclusive tour. We have an entire podcast episode recapping our time there, including things we would recommend, avoid, and other considerations if you plan on going yourself. Approaching the rock is truly pretty surreal, especially as locals. We've looked at Alcatraz so many times across the bay, but arriving is honestly a whole other experience and vibe. When you first walk off the boat, there's some general signs and one or two guides pointing you where to go, but ultimately you're on your own and just following the crowd up the zigzagged pathway up the hill. Definitely be prepared for a little bit of an uphill walk here, but already you can see the views of San Francisco and the surrounding cities. When you first enter the prison, you're taken into the warden's office, which we actually didn't realize was the warden's office until we went through it. From there, you're given a headset and player with narration that you listen to as you do the tour. After going down a quick hallway, you find yourself walking into the prison itself, and honestly, it really is as surreal as you'd imagine. Seeing the stories of cells on top of each other like this, each one only 5 by 9 feet in size, was honestly very humbling to see. Stay tuned because we go inside both a regular cell and a solitary confinement cell in just a bit. One of the trippiest things to see in person were the cells of the men who managed to escape. This is a very notorious story of Frank Morris, John Anglin, and Clarence Anglin, who disappeared from the prison on June 11th, 1962. If you're not familiar with this story, their fate still remains a mystery to this day, though the FBI initially concluded they drowned in the bay and no bodies were ever recovered. Definitely go check out a documentary on this if you haven't already. It is so wild to listen and hear about. You're taken through the remainder of C Block and can even see Al Capone's cell, although you can't get to it as it was on the second story. The dining hall was closed at the time that we went, but you can see other things on the tour, such as the rec yard where inmates would play baseball or run laps. But fair warning, you really can't see much of the rec yard if you go on the night tour, so keep that in mind. You then make your way to D Block, which is where the solitary confinement cells are. On the wall, they note some of the most famous and well-known inmates, and just like C Block, there are 3 stories of cells here off to your left. Even though these cells are bigger, let us tell you, they are eerie, and a couple are notoriously haunted. A quick fun fact for you. In 1934, the Army handed over Alcatraz to the Civilian Bureau of Prisons as a federal penitentiary. The BOP continued to use the dungeons, yes, you heard that correct, for several more years, but adopted the less dramatic terms lower solitary and basement solitary for the underground cells. The dungeons were eventually phased out and replaced by the present D Block isolation wing that you see here. From there, you walk through what was at one point the library, then onto a little information on how Alcatraz was the first supermax prison. Before you leave C Block, you can see into the hallway behind the cells where the 3 inmates escaped. Remember how they dug their way through a vent? This is what they came out into. From there, you head out of the cell block and into where they used to have visitations, and eventually the hallway takes you down to the gift shop. As you exit, you can head to the right where you'll see the lighthouse, and then head down to a landing that was actually created and dug out by the inmates themselves. The warden's house was also located here, which was really wild to see. Today, the house is a ruin as it burned down during the occupation of Alcatraz on June 1st, 1970. Once we toured everything we could up top, we started to head down to the ferry and took a slightly different way down this time. There was a way to cut through that took you past some other buildings. Then, down a curved hallway that eventually took you to an exhibit called Welcome to Indian Land, Resistance, Resilience, and Activism. Apparently, this is a permanent exhibit located in Building 64 and explores the 1969 to 1971 occupation of the island by the Indians of all tribes. The exhibit focuses on the resistance, resilience, and activism of the Native Americans who occupied the island. It highlights how they publicized injustices, inspired political action, and reclaimed their land. We definitely recommend going through it on your way down. What do we think? Would we do it again?
Yeah, in the daylight.
From there, we made it to a ferry that was just about to leave, which worked out perfectly. Overall, it's no surprise we highly recommend going. The night tour is something we've wanted to do for a long time and 100% don't regret doing that. But if you do want to be able to see a little more and get a better feel for the island overall, maybe see the details of the skyline or the island itself a little better, we do recommend doing a day tour. We hope you enjoyed this quick walkthrough of Alcatraz. If you've been or if it's on your list, let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe.